We all understand the type of climate that we're dealing with. We're dealing with multiple offer situations.
I'd love to know sort of what's your why? What makes you tick? Why are you so successful?
Have a dialogue with your lawyer. Have a dialogue with your agent.
Both sort of passionate about sort of what we do.
Again, vet your agent to make sure that they're experienced and they're local. I like that idea.
No excuse to miss it on Saturdays from 8 to 9.
That's right.
WBZ.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Shearer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
Veronique, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm very happy to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
You've got a great list. Yeah, you got a great listing coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, this is located at 4 Rutledge Street in West Roxbury. That's in the Bellevue Hill area, which is basically the best area of West Roxbury. 14 rooms, 8 bedrooms,
wow.
3.5 baths.
Wow.
Corner lot. I had an open house last Sunday. It was completely packed.
Jeez.
And this is one of a kind of listing that every agent dreams of at some point in their career.
And what's it listed for?
It's listed for $799,000.
Oh, perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for being part of the show. Good luck with it.
You're welcome.
Dave, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, guys. Glad to be back.
Absolutely, yeah. So tell us a little bit about Real Estate Media Services.
So essentially, we are a professional marketing service, both for real estate agents and commercial, videography, anything like that. Mm-hmm. We do about 30 to 40 listings a week just in the Massachusetts market, as far as for, listing photography, floor plans, video tours, so on and so forth.
So you're not limited to a particular geographical area?
No, we're actually not. We actually service Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and the Maine coast as well. So
wow.
we have a lot of vacation homes that we put on the market, things like that.
I just want to spend a couple of minutes, and I want to speak to the listeners out there and really have them understand how important having their property professionally showcased is. I mean, I think 90% of the real estate agents out there in this market take their own photography, and I can honestly tell you that you can totally tell when you're looking on the listings. You only get one shot. I mean, in our day and age, they're looking at a listing, and within 10 seconds, are they going to click on that and look more at the listing, or are they going to move on?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, buyers today are qualifying all of their listings online first. They're looking on Zillow, they're looking on Trulia, they're looking on Realtor.com, and then they're going on Google Maps and they're seeing what it looks like. This is, if you think about it, how it was marketed 10, 15 years ago, you'd have the one photo in the Sunday paper, and that would be it. You'd have to go do the drive-bys, you'd have to do all of that. Mm-hmm. The way that people are qualifying listings these days has just totally changed.
I think the statistics I heard is 92% of people are doing online searches first before they even go and do a drive-by a house.
Exactly, and before they even go to an open house.
Which highlights the importance of virtual tours, floor plans, professional photography, etc. I mean,
and that's the real difference too. We're not just going through with dinky little cameras here. We actually have commercial cinema-grade cameras that we will bring into the house. Multiple cameras, multiple people come in. It is a production that we produce for,
and it's not
people.
Expensive. I mean, it's relatively inexpensive for the products that you provide. I mean, I think your company is sort of the perfect size. You're not a one-man show. You're not a corporation. You're sort of that mid-size, really nimble company.
What I want to emphasize is the word plan, because having just a simple will that defines your wishes in terms of who you want what to go to is not an estate plan. That's a really important distinction. Don't you agree, Mike?
I fully agree. And it's, the will is what everyone thinks of when they think of end of life and leaving their property behind. But that's really just one component of a complete and effective plan.
And another component of an effective plan is also really thinking about putting property into a trust and forming trusts.
We're big believers in trust planning. They can be used for a whole variety of reasons, from asset protection to managing property for minor children to minimizing and reducing taxes, and finally avoiding probate.
What is a trust, Mike?
A trust is an agreement which typically is created by someone who's contributing property, and either they can manage it or they appoint a trustee to manage the property, and the trustee needs to follow the terms of the agreement and act in the best interest of the beneficiaries named in that agreement.
So what kind of job descriptions should people really think about possibly putting their house in trust?
Well, we're all exposed to some level of risk. We get in the car every day
Right.
and drive away, and how much coverage does our umbrella policy have?
Or homestead, like Ollie talked about last week.
Absolutely. How much coverage do we have in our cars? And if you hurt someone enough, those coverage limits aren't enough. So what are they going to go after if there's a judgment against you? They're going to go after your other assets that aren't protected.
We definitely have been seeing the volume pick up for these summer months in terms of just the purchase side of it. Rates are down, as you know, rates are good, and we're seeing a nice market of, a lot of both first-time home buyers and people kind of doing that, sell one home, step up to the next home, they're kind of ready. We were even seeing some situations where I love it, where people are actually almost a little bit underwater and they're able to get out of one home at a higher interest rate and step into something and have a similar payment, even though they're buying a home that's a little bit more expensive. And we are seeing the refinance market too. Again, maybe some people that didn't have that opportunity, some people are pulling cash out, doing some home improvements, some things like that. I've had a few recently, which is dear to my heart, where they're, pulling money for education for their kids.
Right. One of the things I'm seeing a lot of, because, I think if anybody's listening to the nightly news and listening to CNBC or that, the Fed is getting prepped just to start to move that prime rate of interest higher. And, as people may or may not know, the prime rate is sort of what predicates interest rates on home equity lines of credit. So I know that my clients are calling me saying, okay, yeah, I've had a nice low rate at 3.25%. The Fed is telling us in the next, 8, 12, 16 months, whatever it is, they're going to start to move that higher. So now is a great time that the rates are still low to refinance that second mortgage into their first, lock it in, a rate in the low 4s, and be done with it. Well, are you seeing that same thing?
Because let's face it, these people were underwater. There really wasn't much equity in this house 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Right.
So there is equity to be able to support that refinance.
Right. Like they didn't have the opportunity before to kind of do that because they were at the maximum, but now the equity is back and they do have that opportunity. And Rick, I'm sure you've seen it too. It's hard to pay down that equity line of credit because they're only billing you for interest only. You have to really make that effort to put extra towards it. So I think a lot of people are looking, and I have run into that as well, because they're not seeing that balance go down and they want to put it all into one and work on paying it off.